So it seems like SmackDown finally decided to be interesting again tonight, because wowee, did we have a lot going on tonight. This is the February 27th, 2026 edition of SmackDown and my review of it. Tonight we open up the show with Jey Uso and Jacob Fatu leaving away in an ambulance. Jey Uso is laid out on a stretcher and Jacob Fatu is going along with him, seemingly for a ride to the local medical facility. And literally everybody is freaking out. Everybody that is possibly backstage is freaking out. Cody's like, what is happening? Nick Aldis is like, what is happening? And Trick Williams comes into frame and he is absolutely ecstatic that Jey Uso's gone, because now there's only 4 guys that he has to beat at Elimination Chamber in order to win. Javon Evans gets in Trick Williams' face, and I want this. I want this at Elimination Chamber. I would hope that these two open up the Elimination Chamber. That would be absolutely awesome. Drew McIntyre comes out to the ring right after all this commotion happens, and he's basically being posed as the one to have beaten up Jey Uso. Nick Aldis comes out first, tells Drew to leave. Cody Rhodes comes out. Drew leaves the ring but sticks in the arena where the crowd is. Cody wants to fight Drew tonight in Louisville, Kentucky, but is interrupted by Randy Orton, who is then interrupted by Trick Williams. Trick Williams, starts saying all his little catchphrases, and then he's interrupted by Javon Evans. All 4 of them are in the ring, and LA Knight shows up. He gets in the ring, and they are all crowded in this one corner instead of using the entire ring. It was a kind of interesting position that they were in, and LA Knight gets in Trick Williams' face. Trick Williams gets in LA Knight's face. LA Knight punches Trick Williams, and they beat each other up all the way into the back. Randy RKO's Javon Evans. We get a stare-off between Cody Rhodes and Randy Orton. Randy Orton walks away, leaves backstage, leaving Cody Rhodes in the ring and Drew McIntyre still in the stands. What a great way to open SmackDown. Insanely chaotic. It felt like everything was just firing on all cylinders. In the backstage area, we get Tiffany Stratton, who's ready to win at Elimination Chamber and book her ticket to WrestleMania. She is interrupted by the Kabuki Warriors, and it is made official that the match tonight will be Tiffany Stratton versus Asuka. The first match of the night, we have Solo Sikoa versus Uncle Howdy. I was very surprised that this was the first match of the night because they kind of hyped it up last week, but nonetheless, I'm happy to see it here. They get to the outside of the ring. Uncle Howdy is thrown into the ring post, and then Solo Sikoa goes to spike him, winds up smashing his hand into the post because Uncle Howdy is able to dodge him. And Uncle Howdy works this thumb and hand basically the entire match. And really nothing else happens in the match. I mean, Uncle Howdy wins. He he gets back his lantern from Solo Sikoa. And as he's celebrating, he's over by the timekeeper's area. And this giant big boot smashes Uncle Howdy in the face. It's the MFTs. They get the lantern back. They run through the crowd. And the Wyatt Six come back in, and they're not able to come back fast enough to get to the MFTs. They do help out Uncle Howdy nonetheless, though. So it seems like we're gonna continue this feud till Mania. I'm gonna go ahead and say I can't remember at what point in time, but Solo Sikoa and the MFTs go up to Nick Aldis and say, hey, you need to do something about the Wyatt Six. They're going way too crazy. Aldis is like, hey, you guys are doing all sorts of crazy stuff every week. Look what you just did tonight. We're going to have a #1 contendership for the World Tag Team Championships. Next, we get Aldis and Drew McIntyre in the backstage area. Nick Aldis tells Drew McIntyre just to go home, please. And then the Vision show up, and of course, Paul Heyman wants Logan Paul inside the Elimination Chamber. Logan Paul hypes himself up, and Nick Aldis says, hey, let me make some calls. But Nick Aldis does also insinuate that it could have been Logan Paul, Paul Heyman, or Austin Theory, or any combination of them, that did this to Jey Uso in the first place in order to get into the Elimination Chamber. And one interesting thing that happens, and I hope that they do something with this, Paul Heyman directly tells Austin Theory to watch his temper. I don't know if they're going to do anything with this. I kind of hope they do. I don't want tensions within the Vision. I still want them to be a cohesive unit, but I would want Theory to show more of that angry side, so that way he's more of a main character instead of just like a back character to the Vision. Rio are ready for their tag team title match tonight to go against the Irresistible Forces, saying they're going to win, and Rhea Ripley's going to go into Elimination Chamber and win and go to WrestleMania to face Jade Cargill. Jade Cargill comes into their interview and interrupts, saying that, I hope you win so I can beat you at WrestleMania. And I'll bring it up more, but Jade continues to do this throughout the entire night. Next, backstage, we get Nick Aldis and Jacob Fatu, and Fatu wants into the Elimination Chamber now that Jey Uso is out. And Nick says the same thing for Logan Paul. Let me make some calls, see what I can do. Next, we get our second match of the night, Tiffany Stratton versus Asuka. But the Kabuki Warriors come out, and Asuka says, you will not be facing me. Why would I want to have a match right before Elimination Chamber? The night before Elimination Chamber. You're out of your mind, Tiffany Stratton. Kairi Sane is her replacement, so we get Tiffany Stratton versus Kairi Sane with Alba Fire and Chelsea Green both at ringside. I really enjoy watching Tiffany Stratton do her cartwheel into an Alabama Slam. When I was a kid, one of my favorite finishers was the Alabama Slam that Hardcore Holly used to use, so it's nice to see that this move is getting revived via Tiffany Stratton. This is a really back and forth match, which is surprising to me, between Kairi Sane and Tiffany Stratton, because Kairi's been kind of posed as like a lower mid-carder, and Tiffany Stratton has been posed as a main eventer. So them having a real back and forth match, I don't know if it's to bring Kairi up or to bring Tiffany down, but I'm hoping to bring Kairi up, because if we can make Kairi a main eventer, I would really enjoy that, WWE. There's a moment near the end of the match where Kairi Sane is going to go for her insane elbow, but Tiffany Stratton stands up and pushes her off of the turnbuckle. She flies out of the ring into Alba Fire's waiting arms, and I believe, if I remember right, Tiffany Stratton then goes outside of the ring. Chelsea gets in her face. Kairi gets up, runs. Tiffany moves out the way. Chelsea gets hit by Kairi, and then Tiffany picks up Kairi, throws her in the ring, hits her with her, prettiest moonsault ever, or whatever it's called, and wins the match, because there was no way that Kairi was going to beat Tiffany Stratton, if we're being real here. The Vision are waiting for Nick Aldis inside Nick Aldis's office, and it is made official here that tonight, the main event, a qualifying match into the Elimination Chamber for Jey Uso's spot, Logan Paul versus Jacob Fatu. The next match of the night is The Miz versus Oba Femi, and the crowd is going absolutely crazy for Oba tonight. The Miz, he goes and grabs a mic. He goes to slide into the ring. Oba stops him with his foot, grabs the mic from him, tells Mike to go get his own mic, which I thought was hilarious, and Miz does so, rolls back in the ring, and tells Oba that he doesn't want to fight. He wants to mentor Oba. He wants to be Oba Femi's Undertaker, because, The Miz is the locker room leader. That was hard to say. Say that 10 times fast. And Oba doesn't really want to hear any of this. He thinks that The Miz is completely stupid. He calls The Miz, he's a dead man. He basically tells him, because Miz said he's the Undertaker. He's a dead man walking. You get it? But yeah, Oba pretty much absolutely destroys The Miz, except The Miz does get like a couple hits in on Oba, but Oba ultimately just destroys him in 1, 2, 3. We're making Oba look absolutely amazing and showing his character. I'm really enjoying this Oba run so far. In the backstage area, we get Carmelo Hayes and Ilya Dragunov, and Ilya Dragunov is not dressed, ready to compete, and Carmelo Hayes is looking at him like, what are you doing? We're supposed to be having a match tonight. You've been putting it off for weeks now. And Ilya says he's just not ready, but soon. So Carmelo Hayes goes out, and we basically have another open challenge for the United States Championship, where Matt Cardona comes out to face Carmelo Hayes. Melo throws Cardona out. He goes to jump onto him, but misses entirely and hits the announce table. It would be from this point on that Matt Cardona takes over the entire match. This match is literally like 90% Matt Cardona offense. And even so, Carmelo Hayes is barely able to come back just near the end of the match and win, retaining his United States Championship. I want to say this is on the higher end of Carmelo Hayes matches so far that he's been United States Champion. It wasn't like crazy when it was Carmelo Hayes and Ilya Dragunov, when Ilya Dragunov was still champion. But this was a very, very good match. We get an ESPN ad from R-Truth teaching everybody how to watch, Elimination Chamber and WrestleMania on the ESPN app. Or if you have cable, ESPN, that thing. Johnny Gargano gets rolled in on a production trunk by Candice LeRae. And she's kind of like, oh, come on, I got a match. They roll out. Kit Wilson comes in, calls everybody toxic. I don't know, this was just pretty much an ad for ESPN. Next match on the card, we have Candice LeRae versus Jordynne Grace, and Johnny Gargano is laid out across the announce table, and they pretty much just have a normal match. That is until Johnny Gargano decides to sit up on the announce table, get up, and start walking towards the backstage area. This completely distracts Candice LeRae because this is the first time that he's moved in weeks. And because of this distraction from Johnny Gargano, he doesn't really distract. Candice LeRae kind of just distracts herself. Jordynne Grace is able to get the win because, of course, Jordynne Grace is not losing here. It's kind of like Tiffany and Kairi. Tiffany wasn't going to lose. Jordynne Grace isn't losing here. Raquel gets interviewed ahead of Elimination Chamber, says she's ready to win and head on to WrestleMania to face Jade Cargill. Jade interrupts, basically saying the same thing that she did to Rhea. Can't wait. Hope you win. Can't wait to see you and beat you up. B-Fab and Meat Chin interfere once again, and Meat Chin looks Jade in the face and says, if you make it to WrestleMania as champion. So I think they're going to revive this whole Jade Cargill, B-Fab, and Meat Chin triangular feud. We then get Jacob Fatu and Cody Rhodes backstage. Cody Rhodes basically tells him, good luck. Sami Zayn comes into view. He shakes hands with Sami, Cody that is, and Sami blames Jacob Fatu for Jey Uso being out of the Elimination Chamber. He says, you're always right there when Jey gets hurt. And you basically just go straight for an Elimination Chamber match instead of trying to figure out who hurt Jey Uso. I'm starting to think it was you who did so. Fatu basically warns Sami to get out of his face and stop blaming him for what happened to Jey. And Sami stands tall here. He's like, and what are you going to do about it? I would have liked to see a little bit more from Fatu here just because his character seems like he doesn't care who's in his way. But I get it. He doesn't want to mess up his chance at the Elimination Chamber. And then Fatu brings up that in their triple threat match when they were qualifying for the Elimination Chamber, Cody and Jacob both got hit with claymores, but Sami didn't. And then he kind of starts to insinuate that maybe Sami is working with Drew McIntyre to screw over Jacob and Drew to help Sami win. So that way Drew can easily retain the WWE Championship. Jacob Fatu says he's going to keep his eyes on Sami Zayn, and he walks off, and Sami gets angry. Once again, he flips over a table, he throws a water bottle. He's really in his head. I said last week I don't care for seeing Sami Zayn on my screen anymore, but if we keep going in this direction, what they did last week completely destroyed his, I believe it was last week, completely destroyed his character. This week, we're building it back up. They did a lot of harm to his character, but here, they healed it just a little bit. The second to last match of the night for the Women's Tag Team Championships, we have Rio versus the Irresistible Forces. The Irresistible Forces are able to take over this match pretty early on. I think Rio maybe got like a minute or two of offense in, but then they take over. Lash Legend absolutely kills Io Sky with this giant big boot. And then eventually Rio are able to take over. Rhea Ripley hits Nia Jax with a powerbomb off the like they weren't on the turnbuckle, but she picks her up with the help of the turnbuckle, power bombs her, and it still doesn't give them a win. Nia Jax is able to kick out. And then from this point forward, the Irresistible Forces start working over Rhea Ripley's leg. They're punching it, they're kicking it, they're kneeing it, they're doing everything they can to take out Rhea Ripley's leg. Things go to the outside where Nia Jax Samoan drops Rhea Ripley onto the announce table. There's a little bit of chaos, kind of like they had the last time they faced off, but not as much. It's more of a structured in-ring bout. Io, for a brief moment near the end of the match, is able to bring things back for her and Rhea, but Nia Jax slows down all her momentum and hits her with an Annihilator off the turnbuckle, which allows Lash Legend to hit Rhea with another move. I can't remember what, it wasn't her finisher, but she hit her with another move, went to go for the pin. Rhea Ripley pulls her out to save the match one last time. But it would be, once again, the Irresistible Forces being the Irresistible Forces that they are, stopping Rhea from saving anything. Io Sky is on the outside of the ring. The Irresistible Forces win, and they are the new Women's Tag Team Champions. And they say backstage that they're going to have a celebration next week on Friday Night SmackDown. I think this was the best match of the night, if I'm being honest. Everyone looked great here, and we have a new champion, so hopefully they can build the Irresistible Forces to be these big, bad, heelish tag team that they are. Charlotte and Alexa are backstage. Charlotte Flair is just chowing down on some ice cream because she is so distraught. She's not in an Elimination Chamber. They're not champions. Oh, woe is me. Charlotte says she's okay, but you can clearly tell she's not okay. Kiana James and Julia come into the fray, and they're like, how could you be okay with Charlotte being like this? Because Alexa Bliss says, sometimes it's okay to not be fine. And then Jade Cargill comes in, says basically to Alexa and Kiana James, hope you win. Can't wait to see him beat you up. I like Jade popping in and out of these scenes, going up to everybody inside Elimination Chamber. Just before the main event, we get Randy Orton walking backstage, and he runs into Aleister Black and Zelina Vega. Randy says he's going to be coming after Aleister Black after Elimination Chamber, regardless if he wins or not. And Aleister Black says he's planned for this the entire time. I don't care. I don't care about this Aleister Black character. It's Karrion Kross 2.0. You told us not to care about Karrion Kross. I'm not caring about Aleister Black and Zelina Vega. Sorry, not sorry. And finally, we get the main event. Jacob Fatu versus Logan Paul. Winner qualifies for the Elimination Chamber match and takes place for Jey Uso, who took place for Bronson Reed. And I don't know if I said this at the top of this, but it's a kayfabe injury to Jey Uso. I don't believe he's actually injured like Bronson Reed is. Fatu, at basically the start of this match, takes Logan Paul to the outside of the ring and just starts wailing on him. Theory is able to help Logan Paul by pulling him out of the way, and Jacob Fatu runs into the barricade. Theory takes every single chance he can throughout this entire match to beat up on Fatu. Anytime the ref distracted, the ref is looking somewhere else, Theory's there beating up on Fatu. And then there's a moment in the match where I thought they were going to end it. Heyman distracts the ref. Theory first distracts Fatu. Fatu punches him. Then Heyman distracts the ref. Fatu grabs onto Paul Heyman's suit. And then Logan Paul comes from behind, because remember, the ref's still distracted. Low blows Jacob Fatu, hits him with that titanium-plated right hand, goes to pin him 1-2, and Jacob Fatu is able to still kick out at this point. A masked man comes out and beats the crap out of Austin Theory, but Logan Paul is able to catch him, hit him with a right hand, and unmasks him, and it's just some random dude. Like, the announcers are like, who is that? I don't know who that is. Everyone in the arena is like, huh? Who is that? I don't know. And I'm sitting there watching it like, who is that? Why do I care? So I'm assuming this was like a ploy from whoever the masked man is to make people kind of forget about him even existing, because now he is unmasked. But with all the commotion with the masked man carrying him out and everything, Jacob Fatu knocks down Logan Paul, He goes to do his moonsault, but Drew McIntyre hits him with the belt when he's on the turnbuckle, knocking out Fatu and allowing Logan Paul to win and qualify for the Elimination Chamber. Now, I made my predictions video this morning, so these two videos will be uploaded on the same day. I have Randy Orton winning the Elimination Chamber. Now that Logan Paul is in, I am still not changing my prediction. I still think Randy Orton is going to win the Elimination Chamber, go on to face Drew McIntyre at WrestleMania. Anyways, that is my review of the February 27th, 2026 edition of SmackDown. Let me know down in the comments below, what did you think about this episode of SmackDown? I think it was pretty good. I'm going to give it a 3.5 star out of 5 stars. I think it's pretty good. And, while you're down there in the comments below, if you're watching this long and you enjoyed the video, you might as well hit the like button. And if you're not subscribed to the channel, go ahead and hit that subscribe button and the notification bell so you can know every single time this channel uploads. Thank you all for watching, and I will see you again next time.